So, what's this? This is a 1976 Yamaha DT250B, and it was sold in June 1977, and the reason I know that is because I have the Yamaha motorcycle warranty and service log, and it's stamped 9th of June 77, and this was under the seat, believe it or not, and it was sold by Mail and Sons of Victoria Road, Bletchley, 13 Victoria Road, which is still a motorcycle shop. It's not Mail and Son, it's a Suzuki dealers now. So here's the service book stamped up to November 77. Anyway, I got this, obviously non-runner. I heard about it a year ago. It was buried at the back of a guy's garage. He was a bit of a hoarder, and to put it mildly, the garage was full, top to bottom and front to back, and this was buried at the back, and he eventually, after a year, managed to drag it out. And what you see is not everything. What I've got is the exhaust, I've got the carburettor, got the seat and the tank, and elsewhere in his garage he swears, the headlight, the clocks, which he's already found. He's found the clocks and the tail light. So there you are. So it's a bike that hasn't been run in about 40 years, I would say. He bought it, rode it around for a bit, got fed up with it, put it in his garage, and in those days you could ride a 250 on what we call L plates. You didn't have to have a license, a proper motorcycle license. So he did that, and then he put it away, and then after a couple of years the law changed and you couldn't ride anything bigger than a 125. So 250s became almost valueless overnight. He took the lights off, rode it around his friend's field for a bit, stuck it back in the garage, and that was that until 2018. So what else can I tell you about it? I'll give you a little guided tour. Here we go. Hope this works. As you can see, it is pretty filthy, but the bits that I have taken off it have come off quite easily, so it's not too rusty. I think if you'd left it another year or two, it probably would have been beyond saving. It turns over. I've had a peep inside, down the plug hole and through the carburettor and through the exhaust port, and it looks fine. It's got most of a tank of two-stroke oil still in it. What I'm hoping is that the tail light, when it turns up, is the UK oval Yamaha FS1E type. That anyone from the UK will know what that means. They're very distinctive and very sought after. So that's it. What can I tell you about it? It's quite conventional, two-stroke 250 single points ignition. The rear, it's twin shock. It has these rather funky looking, they're called something like thermal transfer shocks. They look like a remote reservoir, but I think this bit, I think all that is a sort of heat sink. So I think even by the standards of the day, they were pretty basic. Matching numbers. What else can I tell you? A lot of bits were kind of seized and stuck, and the main problem was Mr. and Mrs. Mouse had made their home in the airbox, which is not uncommon. So here we have two airboxes. This obviously is the one that was on the bike, and you can see they'd got in the top. They had made sweet mouse love and had babies, I suppose, and all that combined mouse crap and mouse piss had rotted the bottom of this out. And you can see this is the little thing that and you can see that the air filter goes around that, and it goes in here, and you can see where little teeth have nibbled away at this plastic armature. So that's a lot of fun, but happily I was able to find on eBay for 35 quid a good used second-hand one that's completely sound, and even has this has a complete one of these inside it. Now the other thing is the carburettor, which mounts kind of in that sort of location. Sorry, wrong way up. Relative to the airbox, and the Mr. and Mrs. Mouse's produce had gone into the carburettor, and it was severely gummed up. It still is pretty bad. And what I did was I tried to get the slide out, that wouldn't move. So I put it in a tried all sorts of things, and I ended up putting it in a pot of water, pouring boiling water on it, and that was enough to, the combination of heat and probably dissolving some of the mouse crap glue was enough to enable me to get the piston out. The rest of it came apart okay, but it's really, really bunged up. I'm going to have to replace every jet in it. I had to drill out the pilot jet, and hopefully I haven't damaged it beyond repair. If I have damaged it beyond repair, then there is a company called Motto Carb in the UK, run by a guy called Steve, and he will be able to supply me with a new Marconi carburettor that's jetted to my requirements to run on this DT250. Now I said, well, what about on the original there is this little spigot, Mr. Spigot, which is where the Yamaha oil injection goes in. There's that there. And obviously a new carburettor doesn't have that, but he said he can fit one for 15 quid on top of the cost of the bike of a new carburettor, which is £150 or thereabouts. So that's where we are. So it's a delightful looking thing, I don't think, but I think it's savable, and I think it's worth saving, and it didn't cost me much. So so there you are. It's just filthy. Under here, and in fact I will set my tripod up so that you can see I have the seat, and I have the tank. So that's the original colour scheme. I think that's this was used in the UK and Europe, I think. Anyway, they're both in. The seat is in remarkably good condition. It's not rotted out underneath. It's very good. And the tank, I haven't been able to get into it yet because I don't have the key. A friend of mine is making keys for it. So, but there's liquid sloshing around inside there. It's either that or lots and lots of rust. I don't know. So that is the situation as it is. So the first thing to do is, obviously I'm going to have to completely take it to bits. Okay, well I've taken the cover off the side of the engine, off that flywheel magneto. I've got in there with a little file and run it between the points. So I'm going to give it a go, see if I get a spark. Okay, fingers crossed. Yay! Don't know if you can see that. There was a good spark. So that's great. After 40 years, it's still got a spark. That's a magneto, there's no battery to have to worry about. I have no ignition key with it, but the thing with these, as a lot of old bikes, if you disconnect the ignition switch, then the engine will run. All the ignition switch does in the off position is it earths the ignition circuit. So that's pretty simple, really. No wonder so many of them got pinched in the old days. Let's give it another go. Yep, sparking. Good. That's all for now. Bye.